One got knocked down, he won't get up again. The other went knocked him down. One got knocked down, and now he's fucking dead. The other went knocked him out. Combo breaker!
There's nothing worse than being watched by something you can't see, especially if that thing's incredibly dangerous and is going to kill you in some sort of brutal and horrific fashion. If you haven't guessed it by now, today's battle is between the Predator and Riddick. Predators are proud warriors and hunters as they go planet to planet seeking prey for the hunt. So, you don't really care about the Predator's backstory. It's not important. It's an action movie. You're there to see aliens slaughter each other. So I guess we'll just move on to their powers, skills, and weapons. The Predators have superhuman stats and have very large lifespans and can live up to 1,000 years. The Predators are masters in unarmed and armed combat and can turn invisible, and on top of that, their infrared vision is enhanced with their mask, and it allows them to see on the electromagnetic spectrum. Alright, so on to their equipment. The Predator wears body armor that protects from stabs and gunshots, and gives them these badass claws on their wrists, and with his biomask, he has increased vision. The combi stick is basically a large bladed staff meant for mid-range stabs and slashes. The Predator also comes equipped with Plasma Faster, which is pretty much a plasma cannon on his shoulder that his mask can allow him to aim better with, using a weird lock-on system. The Predator also has tracking bladed discs that he throws like frisbees. These are referred to as smart discs. He also has snare mines, which explode and then trap the opponent with a rope by the leg. And finally, they have a long bladed whip and a net hat. I don't even think that's how you pronounce it, which constricts the victim slowly, cutting them into bits. Basically, think of it like a deadly cheese cutter, or maybe like the laser grid from Resident Evil, except slower and bladed instead of lasers. And that's about it for the Predator's gear. So let's go ahead and see what this hunter species has in the feats department. The Predator on his own, with no gear, can punch through walls, stone pillars, and even puncture tanks and military helicopters in just a few hits. His shoulder cannon can destroy transport ships and other military vehicles in a single shot. And if all goes south, he can set off his, basically it's a suicide bomb. And when it goes off, it levels entire areas, like all of Egypt pretty much. It's pretty crazy, and there's nothing that can escape that. But that's only if things go real south and he decides to arm it. The Predator is fast enough to outrun sports cars and he can also move so fast that soldiers can't see him. Plus, he's quick enough to dodge point-blank gunfire and sniper rounds. The Predator is tough enough to shrug off barrage with little injuries, and he can survive a direct dropship crash and then have it explode, which, for the love of God, he's taken one hell of a beating from that, and he lives from it. Not to mention, he's also taken one hell of a beating from the alien queen, and the Predator is still able to be struck by lightning and be unfazed. Man, he's tough. The Predator has the stamina to take multiple gunshots and still slaughter humans, and can even fight hordes of xenomorphs for hours without getting tired. The Predator has a higher mental capacity than humans, and are incredibly knowledgeable in technology, astronomy, battle tactics, and biology. But the Predator does fall flat in some aspects, such as the fact that Predators do follow a code of honor, which will make him so he won't fight any unarmed or defenseless opponents. But if he deems the unarmed opponent worthy, then he will strip off all of his armor and weapons and fight hand to hand. So let's see if Riddick even stands a chance against the Predator. Left for dead in a scorched planet, Riddick was left to fend for himself on a planet full of alien predators. And no, not the ones that we just talked about. Different set of predators. Alright, so now on to Riddick's powers, techniques, and equipment, now that we kind of got his story out of the way. Riddick has superhuman stats and enhanced senses, and he can manipulate energy through his Fury and Energy technique, which he can use to kill multiple opponents. Riddick goes for outrageously long time without oxygen and has amazing night vision. It's practically perfect. Hell, it is perfect. Riddick is a master of hand-to-hand fighting and is great at stealth for both hiding purposes and combat purposes. Riddick is also a great strategist and amazing at using deductive reasoning. As he is trained to use various melee weapons and firearms, he's really able to handle anything that comes upon him. Riddick's body can also adapt to climate changes and toxins rather quickly. Plus, Riddick is resistant to drugs, mind and soul manipulation. And Riddick has special eyes that give him perfect eyesight at night, but they are incredibly sensitive to night. But that's why he wears his goggles. His goggles, basically, they protect him from sunlight, and it's a good thing. So Riddick also has godlike pain tolerance, as he can be stabbed, shot, and even bitten, and still fight like nothing happened. Riddick is also an improvising god, as he is shown to forge weapons on the spot and even use the environment to kill people. Alright, so on to his equipment. Riddick wears a pair of goggles that protect his eyes from light, and he mainly wields dual uliks, which are pretty much bladed knuckles that it's like a knife that bends around and covers the fist, so you can punch and stab with it. Also, for the sake of comedy, I'm going to go ahead and let him bring a teacup into the match, and you'll see why in a minute. Alright, so now that we've covered his equipment, we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at his feats. Riddick is strong enough to shove a teacup into a man's chest and twist it, killing him. And he has shown the strength to kill aliens and full-grown men with his bare hands. And with his energy wave, he can kill a bunch of people and tear down metal doors and send opponents flying. Riddick has the speed to disarm and kill a guard before he can react, and he's been shown to dodge bullets on multiple occasions. Riddick is tough enough to tackle a guard into a prison, fall a great distance, effectively killing the guard, but yet Riddick survives almost uninjured. Riddick has also endured falling hundreds of feet and having rubble crash down on him, and he got back up with nothing but a broken leg, but a short while after, he was back up and walking. Riddick has stupidly high stamina, as his pain tolerance allows him to go on for hours even after being stabbed. Not to mention, he has a high healing factor compared to most humans. Now, it's not like to Wolverine's level, but he can definitely heal faster than most humans. And thanks to his pain tolerance, whatever pain he does feel, he psychologically turns into anger or courage, which can be very useful, especially in the midst of battle. And it also allows him to go for hours of fighting alien hordes. Riddick is a super genius with his battle tactics, and even outside of combat, as he's been on the run for he's been uncaptured and on the run for years, and he's escaped a multitude of prisons. And in 12 minutes, he found a flaw in the flawless triple maximum security prison's cryosleep system. Rick does have his problems, though, that he does have to work around, such as the fact that he's very sensitive to light, so without his goggles, his eyes can get really hurt really quickly. Riddick is also very protective of kids and friends, and this can impair his judgment sometimes. And also, Riddick's energy wave is unreliable against one opponent, as we've only ever seen him use it when he's surrounded or in a desperate situation. So let's see who the true predator is and who's the prey. The predator is watching Riddick from the trees as he charges up his laser blast and shoots toward Riddick, who quickly dodges. The predator jumps down and looks at Riddick. Riddick looks up to see the sun setting. Riddick pulls out his blades and runs at the predator, who dodges, and Riddick runs into the forest, and the predator follows after. The predator pulls out his claws and looks around. He sees a heat signature in the trees and throws a smart disc over there, only to have it hit a tree. The sun finally sets, and Riddick takes off his goggles. Riddick throws the smart disc back at the predator, who knocks it away with his claws. Riddick jumps down and slashes at the predator, who blocks with his claws. The two clash for a moment until the predator's claws snap, and Riddick stabs the predator in the stomach. The predator pulls out his whip and swings it at Riddick, who dodges and gets hit in the arm a little bit during the dodge. Riddick grabs a gun off the ground and starts shooting at the predator, who turns invisible. Riddick turns and shoots the predator, who stumbles back, and Riddick goes to stab the predator. The predator uses his whip to break Riddick's blades. Riddick looks at the predator and disappears into the shadows, and the predator follows after. Riddick enters a house as the predator walks in behind him. The predator looks to see Riddick unarmed. The predator removes his weapons and armor and runs towards Riddick. He goes in for a punch, but Riddick grabs his arm and snaps it. He then slams the predator's head into a pillar and then throws him to the ground. The predator gets back up and swipes at Riddick, hitting him. Riddick then stumbles back and grabs a teacup off the table. The predator runs at him, and Riddick smashes the teacup on the table and shoves it into the predator, twisting it. The predator falls to the ground, and Riddick walks away. Alright, the winner is Riddick, and I'll go ahead and go stat by stat to explain why. Strength is by far in the predator's favor. Even with no weapons, he can pierce tanks and take down attack helicopters. And yeah, Riddick can kill a man with a teacup, and that's pretty strong, but that's nowhere near the predator's strength. Speed is about equal, with both having the ability to dodge gunfire. And durability is also in the predator's favor by a long shot, until you take into account the pain tolerance and healing factor that Riddick has. Now, it's still in the predator's favor, but it's not as big of a gap as before. Stamina is also a tie, with both being able to take several injuries and keep fighting. But what really gives Riddick the winning edge is his intelligence. So Riddick found a flaw in the best prison in the universe in 12 minutes, and he knows how to fight aliens and all kinds, including sneaky ones. But you know what the predators do? They fight dumb xenomorphs and marines who kind of just stay in the open with guns, not super stealthy killing machines like Riddick. And the predator's code of honor will easily screw them over, as Riddick would start improvising once he loses his weapons, and the predator would see an unarmed man and then would go in for a fist fight. What he wouldn't expect is a teacup to the chest, or maybe even his head slammed into a wall. So our winner is Riddick.
Next time on Combo Breaker.
Thor versus Vegeta.